the Always Believe House. Oh, we're about to have FUN, fun, because we're going to do Star U17. So a magical whiteboard appears. Let's start graphing this fun parabola. Oh, so we need to graph and trace x squared minus 2x minus 3. And let me get this started. So right here, we're going to graph this function. Okay, so let me get my paper first real quick. Okay, so go to your calculator, hit graph, and we're going to do x squared minus 2x minus 3. So x squared minus 2x minus 3. So that's the graph we're going to do. Hit enter, and we got to find the vertex. So we're going to do menu 5-1, and we're going to go to the vertex, which is right here, 1, -4. So we're going to go back to our paper, and our vertex was 1, -4 with it. Remember also, on your formula chart, the axis of symmetry is -b over 2a. If you have ax squared plus bx plus c, your -b over 2a would be -2 over 2 times 1, which is also going to be that 1, okay? So that -b over 2a will give you the x value of your vertex, and right here it's 1, -4. That 1 is going to turn into your axis of symmetry. Now then, we need the number below 1 is 0, -1, 2, and 3. We need to get these numbers, so we're going to go to our calculator, hit 0, enter. 0 is -3, -1, enter, and -1 is 0 in it. So I'm going to go back to my calculator. -1 was 0, 0 was -3. And remember, these numbers will flip if the vertex is an integer. So this is going to be -3 and 0. So we have our table linked in. We could graph it. So -1, 0 is right here. 0, -3, 1, -4, right here and right here. And if we were to connect the dots, we would have this, wouldn't we? Okay, so that's our graph parabola. Now then, let's go through and answer the questions. The zeros are the x-intercepts. Those are the zeros, right? The zeros in this problem are -1 and 3, aren't they? So the x-intercepts, the numbers that output 0, are -1 and 3. The y-intercept is right here. That's like your starting amount. Okay, so if we start off with 0, we got -3. That's our starting amount. The max or min, we have a minimum. This is our vertex. It's a minimum because it's the bottom, and this number right here is the minimum, isn't it? And it also defines the range. The range is all of the y's. The range will never go below -4, will it? It's got to be -4 and above, so it's going to be greater than or equal to -4. That min number or max number also goes to your range. And the axis of symmetry is x equal to this number right here. The x of your vertex goes to the axis of symmetry. Ho, 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 ho. Fun. Let's go to number 10. Okay, on number 10, let it zoom in. Okay, on number 10, we got to find the expression that is equivalent to a polynomial problem. Notice it's polynomials equal to polynomials. So we're going to just use store, okay? So on number 10, we have an x and a y, don't we? So we're going to go to our calculator. We're going to, if you hit this button right here, this top button, it goes from the graph to the scratch pad. I did not know that. So the button to the below the escape button goes from the graph to the scratch pad. We want to store 2. So I'm going to hit 2, control variable. I want my 2 to be x. The next smallest number is 3, and we want our 3 to be our y. So notice I've stored 2 as x and 3 as y. All I've got to do is type in the problem and the answer choices. So we have 4 times x to the -4 times y squared. Okay? Now then I'm going to put times, and then we have a -x to the 4th. -x to the 4th. make sure you can type these in. Notice also there's multiply between everything. If you don't put the multiply, sometimes it'll give you an error. Hit enter. My answer choice has to equal negative 36 to work. So let's type in A. Negative 6. And then it's x cubed, or times, x to the third power. And then times y. Hit enter. And notice it's not negative 36. It won't work. Now then, let's look at the problem. The problem has to have a negative 4 in the front. The only ones that have negative 4 are C and D. Okay? So let's try letter C. Okay? So we're going to go to try letter C. So I'm going to type in a negative. My control divide gives me my fraction. And I'm going to type 4y squared on top. Hit the down button, and I need x to the 8 on the bottom, and I'm going to hit enter. Oh, I need to hit enter, I'm sorry. Negative 9 over 64, that's not going to be it. So let's try letter D, and I hope I typed this in right. So letter D is negative 4 x to the 8th times y squared, and I need to put a times between my 4 and my x, or it won't work. Hit enter, and negative 9216. Okay, I messed up when I typed this in because I think they're both negative 4s. It should be letter C. Letter C should work when we do this, okay? So it's negative 4 y squared on top, x to the 8th. Oh, I see what I did wrong. So this one right here should be a negative 4. And I need to copy this. Let me get up here and copy it. So I'm going to copy this and make this a negative 4. This y negative 4. I didn't see that on there. And I get negative 9 over 64. So I did not type in the problem right. But this right here is equal to the negative 9 over 64. So the answer on this problem is C, okay? Let's go to number 11. On number 11, we still have x and y. I'm doing that so you don't have to keep storing, but we're going to type in the problem. So I'm going to type in 7x, then times, parentheses. If you don't put the multiply in there, it won't work. X plus 8y, close parentheses. So I got 7x times x plus 8y, hit enter, and I get 364. Now then, really quickly, 7x times x is 7x squared. We have to start off with 7x squared. And the 7 times 8 is a 56. So we have to end up with 56. So let's go to D. It's going to be, letter D is 7x squared, or 7 times x squared. Not 7 plus 7 times x squared, plus 56 times x times y. Hit enter, and notice we get 364. So let's go back to our paper. Okay, so this problem right here, and this is a negative 4 right here. I need to make these negatives bigger, okay? But this was C, and on this one right here, it's going to be D. Notice if we bluebell truck 7x, we'll get 7x squared plus 7 times 8 is 56, and then we have our x and a y, don't we? Okay, so that's how it works. On this one right here, we have a negative times a positive, so we have a negative 4. The y to the squared stays on top, and these two x's go to the bottom. You got x4, which ends up with the x to the 8th. That's how that works, okay? But just type it into Store. I'll make these negatives bigger when you get this worksheet. These will be more noticeable that they're negative, okay? Let's go down to number 12. Okay, we want to find out the expression that's equal to here. We're going to type this in, but first off, remember, you're going to do 5x plus 3, and then 8x minus 8. If you box this, 5x plus 3 and 8x minus 8, you're going to get a 40x squared and a negative 24. It has to start off with the 40x squared. That eliminates this one. And it has to end with a negative 24. That eliminates this one, right? So we're down to A, C, or D, aren't we? Okay, so we're going to type this into the calculator. So we're going to go to the calculator, and we're going to type in the problem, which is 5 parentheses, 5x plus 3. Notice I'm still using x, so it still has x stored as 2. And then another parentheses, 8x minus 8. Then hit enter, and I get 104. Let's try letter D. Okay, I got a feeling about letter D. So we're going to type in letter D. 40, and then x squared minus 64x, and then plus 20, plus 24. And I get 56. That's not right. It's going to be B in it, because it has to have a minus 24 at the end. So we're going to type in B. 40x squared minus 16x minus 24. And what did I type in? Oh, it's got a Q in there. So let me type it in again. 40x squared. Jiminy Cricket's x, not Q. X squared minus 16x minus 24. Not negative 24, minus 24. And notice I get the 104, don't I? So the answer on this one's going to be B in it. Okay, so B ended up being right. It can't be the plus, can it? So B ended up being the 104. These two equal the same thing if we use store. Also remember, if you graph this, these factors are going to go through the x-intercepts. Now then, let's go to number 13. Okay, on number 13, we got to remember how to factor. Remember, the factors go through the x-intercept of the quadratic if you need to graph it. But really quickly, I'm going to write the factors of 12, which are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. And we want to subtract and get 4. The 2 and the 6 work, don't they? So I'm going to put 6 and 2. The middle sign goes to the big number. I want to end up with 4, so I need a plus. This right here goes on the bottom. Now that I got my factors. Negative 6 times 2 is a negative 12. X times x is x squared. These turn into your factors. So x minus 6 and x plus 2 are my factors. Ho, 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 ho. Let's go to the next one. We need the factors of 20, which are 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Remember, you could graph 20 divided by x and hit Control T to get those. We want to add and get 12. So the ones that add and get 12 are the 2 and the 10. So I'm going to put 10 and 2. The negative goes to the 10. And I want to add up and get 12. We need 12 shaded, so the 2 will always be a minus. This goes on the bottom. So x and x. Notice, negative 10 times negative 2 is 20. X times x is x squared. So it's going to be x minus 10 and x minus 2. Those two problems, if you multiply them, you'll get the problem, okay? Remember also, the factors and the zeros are opposites. The factors and the zeros are opposites. On the next one, there's a 2 right here. So we got to take the 2 and multiply it by the 5. And we're going to get 10. This one's pretty easy because it's just 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. And I want to add and get 7 so the 2 and the 5 work. So I'm going to put 5 and 2. The plus goes in front of the 5. The 2 needs to be positive, and this 2x goes on the bottom. Notice I cannot simplify the plus 5 and the 2x, but these divide by 2. So I'm going to get plus 1 over x. Now then, 5 times 1 is 5. 2x times x is 2x squared. These are going to be my factors. 2x plus 5 and x plus 1. And remember, the opposite of those factors are your zeros, which you just learned last week. Number 14. Okay, on number 14, we're going to graph and hit Control T. Notice, this is our domain, and we want to get our range. Our range is going to be the input, the output is the range. So we're going to go to our calculator. We're going to go, I'm going to hit this button to go to graph. Delete, 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 hit tab, and then we're going to graph x squared minus 3x plus 2. So x squared minus 3x plus 2, hit enter. Now then, I'm going to hit Control T. And now I got my answers, don't I? Okay? So my answers are 2, 0, 0, 2, and 6. If my input's 0, my output's 2 in it. That would be the y-intercept. These two right here are zeros. The 1 and 2 are zeros, aren't they? So let's go to our paper. So if you input 2, you get 0. 1 and 2 is 0, and then 2 and 6. These are my zeros, aren't they? And the 2 would be the y-intercept, wouldn't it? Okay, let's go to 15. This one right here, we got to remember our shortcuts here. So at the bottom, write down ax plus by equals c. If you were to solve this for y, you would move the ax over. We've done this a whole bunch of times. Then divide by b. This right here is your slope. This is your y-intercept. So the slope is negative a over b in it. You must remember this. And if you divide, you get your y-intercepts. So right here, my slope's going to be 4 over 1. The opposite of a plus is a negative, or it's just going to be negative 4. My x-intercept is negative 12 divided by 4. That's going to be negative 3. My y-intercept is negative 12 divided by 1, which is negative 12, okay? So your slope is going to be negative a over b. Your x-intercept, you take the big number and divide it by the number in front of x. The y-intercept, you take the number and divide it by the number in front of y. Over and over. Let's do the next one. The slope is going to end up being 2 over 5. The opposite of a negative is a positive, so my slope's 2 over 5. My x-intercept is going to be 10 divided by 2, which is 5. My y-intercept is going to be 10 divided by negative 5, which is negative 2. So if you take this number and divide it by the 2, you get the x-intercept. The 10 divided by the negative 5 would be the y-intercept. You put the x number over the y number, that's going to be your slope. You got to flip the y though. That's all you got to do. On the next one, the slope is going to be 3/4 in it. On the next one, the slope is 2 over 3. Remember, this is your y number, this is your x. We have a point slope equation. You got to flip those signs. So the opposite of a positive 2 is a negative 2. The opposite of a negative 1 is a positive 1. Remember, in the point slope formula, the y's and the x's have negatives in front of them. Let's go to the next one. This is straight calculator here. So we're going to go to our calculator. We're going to hit Control T to get rid of that table. Then I'm going to hit my switch button. And then I'm going to grab, or just punch 2 to the negative 3. 2 caret negative 3. Remember, this will not be negative 6. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. But the negative 3 is going to move the 8 from the numerator into the denominator. This should end up being 1 over 8. And that's what we get in it. Okay? So technically, what is happening is you're taking this number and you're flipping the fraction, and then you're getting the answer. So the answer is 1 over 8. Okay, let's go to the next one. What we're going to do is expanded form here. So we have x to the third, write out 3 x's. The y to the negative 1 is going to drop. A negative exponent moves the base across the fraction bar. I got x to the 5th, 5 x's, and then I got y squared. Now then, I'm just going to cross out what's on top and bottom. I got an x on top and bottom, an x, and another x. Whatever's left is the answer. There's nothing left on top, so I got 1. On the bottom, there's 2 x's, so I got x squared. And there's 3 y's, I got y cubed. So 1 over x squared y cubed is the answer. Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Let's go to the next problem. The x to the negative 2 is going to get flipped across. So I'm going to put 2 x's right here. Anything to the 0 power is 1, so you can cross it out. So the y to the 0 just goes away to a 1. Then I have x to the 4th on the bottom. I need 4 more x's. The y to the negative 2 will go up. So y and y. Whatever's left is the answer. Notice the only thing on top's y, the only thing on bottom is x's. I got y squared over x to the 6th. Ho, 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 ho. F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. Then on the last one, just type that into the calculator. So 64, hit the up button, Control divide, and put the 2 and the 3 in. This is just getting a fractional exponent. you would get 16. After Staar, I'll explain how you get the 16. Fun, fun, fun. Let's go to 17. You cannot forget how to do a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is huge, so you must remember how to do a spreadsheet. So we're going to go to our calculator. We're going to hit menu. We're going to hit, we got to hit home button. Then I want 1. Then I want 4. And then put the X and Y on the top, right? You got to have the X and the Y on the top. Now then I'm just going to type in my spreadsheet. So I got 6, 8, and 20. And then for my Y's, I got 7.4, 8.7, and I have 16.5. Ho, 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 ho. Since we're dealing with money here, we are not going to switch the decimals to a fraction with our slope. Remember, menu 4, 1, 3, X down, Y down, enter. Menu 4, 1, 3, X down, Y down, enter. So we're going to do menu. We're going to do statistics. We're going to do stat calculations. And then we want a linear regression 3. Menu 4, 1, 3, X down, Y down, and then hit enter, and bam. This is our slope right here, 0.65, which means it costs 65 cents for every gizzard. And our starting cost for the drink is 3.5. So I'm going to go to my paper, 0.65 and 3.5. I think that was it. 0.65 and 3.5. Now then, what would the slope be? It's 0.65, which is 0.65 gizzards per dollar. I'm sorry, it's $6.65 per gizzards. Jiminy crickets. Dollars per gizzard. And remember, right here, the function of Y is a function of X. So our gizzards is going to be the output, and the gizzards is the input, the dollars the output. Now then, we want to find 80 gizzards, so it's going to be 0.65 times 80. Need to erase. Plus 3.5. So we got to calculate that out. So let's go to our calculator. I'm going to hit this to go back. 0.65 times 80 plus, I need a 0.65. 0.65 times 80 plus 3.5. Not 6.5, 3.5. So 0.65 times 80 plus 3.5, $55.50 for 80 gizzards. So $55.50 in it. Make sure y'all can do this. Make sure you are estimating with this table when you do this. So make sure you can write down the equation and estimate that table. Turn the page! So now we're at 18. This is a huge concept we're doing here, okay? So Jiminy John went to Sonic to see Lucy Clear and purchased a 30-ounce malt. To impress Lucy Clear, he drinks the malt at the rate of 6 ounces each minute. So this is our Y, this is our X. Write the function, okay? So he starts off with a 30-ounce malt. That's our starting number. Our growing number is going to be 6, but it's going to be a -6 in it. So every minute he drinks 6 ounces, okay? The slope of the function is -6. It's 6 ounces per minute. This is my Y, this is my X. So my Y is going to be the ounces, my X is going to be the minutes, and I'm going to start off with 30 ounces, aren't I? Now then, to find the x-intercept, we're going to do 30 divided by 6. How many times will 6 go into 30? It'll go 5 times, right? So at 5 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's going to be out of malt, okay? And it's going to be a continuous line because the malt is steadily going down in it. This will not be a discrete function. It'll be continuous. Put a 0 right here at the origin, okay? Let's go over to the right. The y-intercept is 30 in it. And it represents the initial amount or the starting amount. Initial amount of malt, right? or it's what he starts off with. On the Staar, they're going to use initial. The x-intercept is going to be the 5-ended. 5 minutes equals 0 malt, right? However you want to say that. At 5 minutes, he's going to run out of malt, okay? Now then, the domain, this right here is my domain. It's the x-axis, right? The domain goes from 0 to 5, doesn't it? So I'm going to put 0 and 5. My domain is x, and you always use less than or equal symbols. Because we're going to have our closed dots here. If you have an open dot, you won't put the equal bar, will you? Our range is going to go from 0 to 30 in it. So the range goes from 0 to 30. I'll put a y. And remember, we use less than or equal symbols to do that, okay? F-U-N, fun, fun, fun. The fun continues. Go to 21. Okay, on 21, these are InSolve problems. If they want to know the answer to an equation, you just type it into InSolve. So we're going to go to our calculator. InSolve is menu. We're in algebra, numerical solve. And now that I'm going to type in the problem. Okay, so I need to be on the back page. So we have 5 parentheses, just type it in as is. Negative 2x minus 6x, close parentheses, equals, then I need 5 parentheses, x plus 6, close parentheses, minus 5. And then I have to put comma x, right? Comma x. So I got 5 parentheses, then the comma x, and that all looks good. Hit enter. What did I do wrong here? Ooh, I got a 6 in there. Let me go back up here, enter. And this right here should not be a 6. Jiminy Crickets, it just deleted everything. Why did it do that? Menu 3-1, Jiminy Crickets. Let's type it in again. 5 parentheses, negative 2, x minus 6x, close parentheses, equals 5 parentheses, x plus 6, close parentheses, minus 5, comma, x. Okay, so this time I got it typed in right, hit enter, and I get 0.555. That should not be the answer. 5 parentheses, negative 2 minus 6x. There's another x in here. Where did that other x come from? Hit enter. I'm going to copy this. This x shouldn't be there. Why is that x there? Ah, unbelievable. Just delete everything one more time, and then I'm just going to go to the next problem. Menu 3-1. And then let's type it in one more time. 5 parentheses, Jiminy Crickets, negative 2x minus 6x. And then why is it doing this? Negative 2x minus 6x. Close the parentheses. There we go. Equals. And then I need 5 parentheses. X plus 6. Close parentheses minus 5. And then comma x. Did I type it in this right this time? It looks right. Let's hit enter. And it's like putting an x in there after I do it. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, that's right. So let's just put 0.555. That's going to be a fraction, okay? So go to your paper. I don't know why it's doing that. Put negative, was it negative? Negative 0.55. I might have typed that in wrong, okay? Now then, let's go to the next one. So we're going to do menu 3-1 again. I even have trouble with the calculator too. So menu 3-1, Jiminy Crickets, menu, algebra, numerical solve. I need to get this. So menu 3-1. Now then I'm in it. Now then let's type in the problem. Negative parentheses, 3x minus 2, close parentheses, plus, let me get this up here, plus 6. And and then parentheses x plus 3, close parentheses, equals 5x minus 4x. Equals 5x minus 4x. And do I have it typed in right? Negative 3x minus 2 plus 6 parentheses x plus 3. That's it. Now then I put comma x at the end, comma x, and then hit enter, and that's negative 10. That one worked, okay? I might have typed in the other one wrong. So negative 10 is our answer. So go to your paper and put negative 10. So just remember, menu 3-1 for that end solve. Let's go to the next one. Y'all are doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. On this right here, we're going to store and get our M and our B, aren't we? Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to make a spreadsheet. So I'm going to click Home, click 1. Never save anything on your calculator. I want to add a spreadsheet. Type in X and Y at the top. And then let's type in our 2 points. Negative 3 and 3 are my X's. And my Y's are negative 3 and negative 7. Now then, menu 4, 1, 3, X down, Y down, enter. And right here, now then, we need to find the slope of that negative 0.666. But our y-intercept's negative 5. So I'm going to go here, and I know my b is equal to negative 5, don't I? We need to find the slope of that negative 0.66. So put your blue button on that, hit Control-C to copy, then hit this button and it goes straight to Scratchpad, hit Control-V to paste, and then menu 2, enter. That switches it to a fraction. Our slope is negative 2/3 in it. Okay, so go to your paper. Your m is equal to negative 2/3. So your equation is equal to y equal negative 2/3x minus 5. Ho, 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 ho. Now then, let's go to the next one. It's parallel to this line. This number and this number are my slope, aren't they? So my slope is 3/4, and the opposite of a negative is a positive. This right here is going to be my m. This is my x, this is my y, so I'm going to write down y equal mx plus b, and then I'm going to substitute in. I do not know the b. Okay, so the y is negative 6, my slope is 3/4 times negative 4 plus b. You're going to put that in solve and solve for b. I'm going to do this in my brain. So this will be negative 12, this will be a negative 3. B is going to end up being a negative 3. So the equation is going to be y equal 3/4x minus 3. Remember, you would put that into solve and solve for b, okay? Let's go to the next problem. Okay, we have a perpendicular slope. So our slope is 5/2, and we need a perpendicular slope. Remember, you got to flip. So the opposite of a positive is a negative. Flip the slope, you get negative 2/5. That's our m. This is our x, this is our y. We're going to y equal mx plus b. We don't know the b. So our y is 4. Our m is negative 2/5 times our x is negative 5 plus b. You're going to put that into solve and solve for b. I'm going to do this in my brain. So the 2 negatives makes a positive 2. B is going to end up being 2. So our equation is going to be y equal negative 2/5x plus 2. Ho, 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 ho. Fun, fun, fun. We're almost done. Go over here. Okay, we need to solve the systems, okay? So we're going to graph both these lines and find the intersection. So I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to hit switch. I'm going to hit delete, delete, delete. Now then, I'm going to hit tab, and we're going to graph these lines. So negative 1/3 x, negative, control divide, 1 and 3. Negative 1/3 x, and then plus 2. Hit enter, I got my line. Now then, I'm going to hit tab, and we're going to graph the next line, which is 4/3x minus 1. So control divide. I need 4, and then I need a 3, and then x minus 1. Hit enter. Now then, I need the intersection point. So I'm going to do menu. I need to analyze a graph, which is 6. And then I want the intersection, which is 4. Okay, I'm going to click, and then I'm going to drag, and bam, right there. 1.8 and 1.4 is my intersection. So 1.8, sometimes they won't be decimals, and 1.4 is my intersection point, okay? On the next one, this is really important here. We're going to have to store, okay? Let me erase this right here. Okay, so we're going to store, and this is huge, y'all. So this is our X and our Y. We got to store the right one, okay? Both of them have to be true. So let's go to our calculator. We're going to hit, go to the scratch pad, and then we're going to store, let's do A first. 1 is going to be our X, control variable X, not Q, X. And 2, is it 2? No, 3. 3 will be our Y. Control variable Y. Hit enter. Now then type in the first equation. 6x minus 2y equals 16. So what I did is I stored that point, and now I'm going to type in the equations. The right answer is going to make both equations true. That one's false. So it can't be choice A. So let's go to choice B, which is 2, negative 2. So 2 control variable X and negative 2 control variable Y. Now then notice I put that second point in. Let's type in this equation again. So I'm going to go up here to the top, and I'm going to pick this equation so I don't have to graph it again. Hit enter, and then hit enter. Notice it's true. Let's type in the next equation. Negative 2x minus 3y equals 2. They both have to be true, and notice that second one's true. That is a huge way to get these problems right, okay? So the answer choice for that one is B. It made them both true, did it? 2, negative 2 is the answer, okay? Let's go to the next one. And I'm going to try to do this all in one sweep right here. Okay, so let's try C at the first, okay? Yeah, let's try C. So we're going to store 0 for X, 0, control variable X, and then we're going to store negative 1, control variable Y. So notice I've stored my point in, and I'm just starting off with C because I got a feeling that's going to be the right answer. Now then type in the problem. Negative 2x plus 6y equals negative 6. True. Ho, 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 ho. Negative 5x plus 12y equals negative 12. Hit enter, and it's true also. So letter C is going to work. The other answer choices would not be a true. Okay? So this one right here is going to work. It makes true and true, doesn't it? So you're typing it, you're storing the points, typing the equations, and bam, you're going to get your answer. Number 23, we got to know our transformations. Remember the A, that's your slope. It vertically stretches or compresses. The H is left or right, and the K is up or down. You got to remember this. You will see this on your test, okay, on your benchmark. So this negative is going to reflect it across the x-axis. The 2/3 is going to vertically compress it. It's going to make it wider. So that's a vertical compress of 2/3. And then remember the number inside the parentheses is opposite. So this is going to be a +3. We're going to do a horizontal, and I'm going to put a capital H, a horizontal, what is it called? A horizontal slide, a horizontal chimney crickets. A horizontal shift. A horizontal shift of 3. Horizontal shift right 3 will be how they're going to say that on Staar. A horizontal shift to the right 3. Let's go to the next one. The opposite of +2 is a -2. That is a horizontal shift left 2. and the minus 3 is a vertical shift down 3. So your vertex would be -2, -3, right? You would go left 2, down 3. That's basically what you're doing here. Okay, on the next one, this 3 is going to make it thinner. It's going to be a vertical stretch of 3, and it's going to be the plus 2 is a vertical shift up 2. Okay? Notice there's no parentheses, so we're not going left or right. Let's go to the next one. Okay, technically you would graph this and get your vertex. I'm going to do -b over 2a. This is a, b, and c. So I got -8 over 2 times 1, and that's going to turn into a positive 4. This is going to be my axis of symmetry, x equals 4. So if you do -b over 2a, you will get your axis of symmetry. Right here, our vertex is 4, -1. Remember, you got to flip the number inside the parentheses. That 4 is your axis of symmetry. The x of your vertex is your axis of symmetry. Right here, the opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. So my vertex is -5, -2. My axis of symmetry is going to be that -5 in it. That's the vertical line that splits the parabola in two. And the last one, thank you for watching this. This has been a long time. Draw a box that contains your function. Notice, the domain will go from here to here, and the range is going to go from here to here. The domain will go left to right. The range will go bottom to top. The domain starts off at -3, but it's open. And it ends at positive 4. This will not get the equal bar, will it? Because it's an open dot. So the -3 doesn't get an open dot. My range is going to go from here, which is -4, to here, which is 5. So my range goes from -4 to 5. Put a Y. The -4 has an open dot, but the 5 has a closed dot. That's your domain and range. You have been wonderful, wonderful. This has been a long video. Make sure you're watching these each week. It's really going to help out when you do your, when you finish. This is going to be huge studying for Staar. Keep believing in who you are. You got this, okay? Remember, you are amazing. You are created to do wonderful things. And you are awesome.